Welcome to another one of our weekly Tech Central videos. On this full North Dakota day, we are going to be bringing to you a very exciting little device from Bix'n Andy. If we go back to December 2014, we got some requests from the Olympic three-position shooting team, and they needed to get a much better two-stage trigger than what they've been using. So we got hold of the guys in Austria and got to working with them and came up with a design, and by January this year, the SHOT Show, January 2015, we had launched the prototypes for the two-stage trigger, and I can tell you it was amazingly well received from all aspects of shooting. Obviously three-position, we had a whole bunch of people from the tactical side of the business. They just overwhelmed with the design. So let me introduce you to it a little bit. Essentially it is unique in that this trigger is the only two-stage trigger where the two stages are completely independent of each other. And to start with, we have, this is the trigger you probably have seen before if you are used to a Bix'n Andy trigger. This is your standard bench rest single stage trigger, winning and setting records throughout this last year and the year before. So we've been really excited with this, and essentially what we have in the two-stage trigger is exactly that, is the single stage trigger, but now with the added option for having a first stage, and you can see the first stage moving there without firing the weapon, and then add the force for the second stage, and we have two stages. So let's take a look at it in a little bit more detail. You'll see added to the familiar housing here, we have a little device which allows you to add your own selection for a trigger shoe. In this particular case, we're using the Anschutz trigger shoe, and you can see here it just simply comes off with a 2mm set screw. So let's just remove that so we can take a better look at the body of the Bix'n Andy trigger. Remove the bolt. I'm going to take the trigger shoe off. You can see the support bar for the trigger shoe, and there are a bunch of little set screws that we can use to set the trigger properly. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail, as this video will get a little long, but coming with the trigger, you do get a little booklet like this which goes into the detail needed to set this thing exactly the way you want. But just quickly, what I will do is just take this little Allen key out of the packet that you get with it, with assortment of springs to give you different ranges of trigger weight. But essentially what we have here is the familiar screw, just one back from the front of the trigger, is your sear engagement, and you would set that exactly the same as you would your single stage trigger. Just in front of that, using your 1.5mm wrench again, is the force gauge for the second stage of the trigger pull. So once you've gone through your first stage, you will then come to a stop, you'll hit your second stage, and it's that set screw in the front that if you turn it in, it's going to apply, it's going to require more force to break the trigger and turn it out the opposite. So then you have, as I say, the sear engagement just behind that. Now, the first little hole in this bar that you get, and once again, your 1.5mm wrench, if you screw that set screw in, you're going to get less travel on your first stage. Okay, so we can adjust the weight of the first stage, the trigger weight, the trigger force of the first stage, and we can adjust the travel, so much so that we can take all the travel out of it. So if I just turn this in now quickly, you'll notice that our travel is now gone. Now that would turn it into a single stage trigger, which wouldn't make a lot of sense, but if you really wanted to use it as a single stage, you could do that. And going back, we have then the force required for the first stage would be right at the back here. You turn that in, you'd have more force on your first stage, turn it out, and you'd have less. So that's sort of just a basic overview of the adjustments. Again, go through the manual, sit down with this, and make sure always your rifle's safe, and that you set this trigger up exactly according to your requirements. I will just put the Anschütz, in this case this is the Anschütz Sensitive trigger shoe, available on our website. And we really like this trigger shoe because also it's infinitely adjustable. You've got little ball bearings in here, so you can set this trigger direction up in any at any angle that is suitable for you. So that's a quick overview of the Bix'n Andy 2-stage trigger. For those of you in 3P shooting, tactical, that are looking for the technology that you'll find in the Bix'n Andy single-stage trigger, now with 2-stage, we've got that available for you. So thanks for watching again, another Tech Central video. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to call us. We love taking your calls. Go to our website. We've got lots of fun information there and other videos as well on other triggers and gadgets and gizmos that you'll like in your shooting. So thank you again, and look forward to seeing you next week.